What's your name on Facebook so I could share that status when it's live?
Kyle Forrester.
Kyle Forrester?
Yeah.
Alright, found it. Oh, wait, wrong one.
All right, we're live, man.
All right, here we go. Johnny O, Johnny O.
Here they are telling you how it is, talking whatever's important to you, the fan. 50% whatever you want to talk about, whatever floats your boat. And, of course, 50% MMA. Here they are, the undisputed talk show right here, Eli. The people can too, and the one, the only, Kyle Forster. Good evening, gents.
How you doing? How you doing?
How's it going,
How's
Johnny?
everybody tonight?
I am doing very well. I'll tell you what, the best day ever. Thank you for having Johnny O on one more time.
It's always a pleasure to have you on here. It's always a pleasure. People like you highlight the sport that we represent here, so it's always a pleasure to have you this and every other time, brother.
Thanks for being on, man.
Well, hey, Kyle, what you got to say, man? I know you're over there with a sidekick right there. It's Eli, the people can too. Kyle, you got a nickname, my friend?
No, I gotta make one of those up, man.
Maybe we could give him one
Hey,
in
how
the
about-
show.
How about just for tonight, maybe the callers can come up with a different one. How about Kyle, the Teen Forester?
There we
Let's see what
go.
the folks think about that, guys.
Hey, we might have to take some votes on that.
That
Or
sounds good, my
if
friend.
not some votes, well, maybe we could take some more suggestions. So
That is
stay
very
tuned for
good,
that.
Lloyd.
Maybe we can have your followers just kind of comment some feedback there on YouTube, as you can follow us when as the show goes on, and people could comment here. So yeah, man, thanks for that the suggestion, because we definitely need a nickname for Kyle here.
We've got Kyle. Before the show's over, my friend, we're going to make sure you get a great nickname with the help of these fans out there. You got to love it. We also have, like I said, Eli, the people can too. Did you guys happen to see the fight this last weekend?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
we did.
Yes, sir. That's the main topic right now. I mean, Kyle, what do you think about these fights? Just give us the rundown from beginning to finish.
There was some really, really good fights this weekend. It was Fox Card. Junior Dos Santos and Alistair Overeem was a banger. They kind of felt each other out for the entire first round, and then Junior Dos Santos got clipped with a big punch and kind of a bad stop, I think, trying to get up. They called the fight a little early.
You know, that's what I've been hearing. I don't know if our listeners and our followers are feeling the same way, but from the people that I know that I have on my Facebook wall, a lot of people are saying that Herb Dean has been stopping fights too early lately. You know, I don't know if this is a systemic issue that's been going on, or if it's just a couple people that were feeling this way. But yeah, and especially on a fight like this, you know, you got two of the toughest guys in the world, and you're gonna stop the fight at a moment that he was standing up with chance of recuperating. Now, this is kind of skeptical. What do you think, Kyle?
Yeah, it's been, I don't know, man. I have mixed feelings on it because I feel like if they would have let it go, he'd have got hit one more time, and he'd have been out anyway.
Oh, he would have. Okay.
But you don't know that for sure. You still give him a chance. Like if you ever seen the fight between Chet Congo and Pat Barry?
I can't
Where-
recall it.
Pat Barry had Congo on the ropes, man, falling down, out of it, knocked out, almost done, and he ran in for one last punch, and Congo threw an overhand right and put him down.
Right.
So anything can happen.
Right, and that's why we love MMA, because anything can happen. This is a sport that, you know, you could make literally anything happen in the ring. There's so many different types of disciplines that you could apply that it just makes this game just you just don't know what's going to happen. It's just a mystery, man. You can never tell. But I mean, moving on to these other fights, what about Diaz? What's your take on his fight?
Diaz fought a really good fight. I thought for sure Michael Johnson was my pick for that fight because Diaz hadn't fought in over a year. And Johnson came out playing it smart, man, throwing leg kicks and circling away. Diaz's attitude baited him back in, man, and got him in a dog fight. And Diaz looked really good. His boxing was amazing. He was talking shit the whole time.
And I
It was-
mean,
it
that's
was-
what he does.
It was a classic Nate Diaz fight. It was,
you know,
it was good.
And that approach worked great. If not, it worked perfect for Conor McGregor. Made him a lot of money. So, I mean, does it surprise you that Diaz would challenge, McGregor in a fight? I mean, based on their approach to how they taunt their opponents?
It doesn't surprise me at all. It surprises me more that he thinks he's going to get his way into a title fight over Rafael Dos Anjos, because Rafael Dos Anjos is the champ, and McGregor's the champ at 45. So you would think if he moves up, he's fighting the champ right away, right?
Right.
You'd give McGregor the title shot, and Diaz is nowhere near. I mean, he's up there. I mean, he's looking at a title shot, but he's not.
How much do you think popularity has to do with this? Do you think that popularity could put him on that contender spot, quicker than others? If he's that hot, if he's buzzing out there, do you think he could?
I don't see how you get a shot over the champ, man. I really don't. Next in line, perhaps, but I don't think McGregor would be content with not fighting for the belt, being a champion, moving up a weight class, and fighting for a contender spot.
Right.
Now I wonder. I've yet to hear. I think McGregor's kind of moving up because of the IV ban, and he has a tough time making 45. So you're going to see a lot of fighters kind of shifting weight classes here and there as they have trouble making weight.
Okay. Well, that might play a big part here in the future. I mean, when is that supposed to take effect?
It's already taken effect.
Okay, so then.
So now it's only been, I think, a month or two. So you haven't had, the whole roster hasn't fought
right
with the IV ban yet. So.
Right. Well, we'll see how that plays part. But I mean, it's definitely something to. I mean, it's something that I want to watch. I like to see that. If not this next time, then perhaps on the next time that McGregor fights, I think it should be probably against Diaz. He's proven himself worthy. I think he's proven himself that he deserved that shot at least.
I would agree that
maybe not that soon.
He's up there, but he hasn't fought in a year. So he's had one fight in a year, and he fought Michael Johnson, which I think he was ranked 6th. So I don't know if that warrants a title shot exactly, but he's up there, man. And I'll tell you what, it'll be an interesting fight.
It would be.
Just the lead up, just to hear both of them speak.
Right. I mean, Cerrone, he surprised me this weekend. I really, a lot of people thought he was the underdog, and he was. But even though he was, he still had a lot of support. Did that surprise you?
It surprised me. I kind of seen it happening as he was walking to the cage, though, man. He just didn't look there. He just looked like he was having a bad night. He wasn't there. He didn't show up. And Cerrone's generally a late starter. He's got to get punched a couple times and move around a little bit to open up. And Dos Anjos pulled the trigger right away. Hit him with a liver kick and kind of shut him down. And he had no choice but to kind of wait and recover. And he tried to wait it out, and he just swarmed. But I also think that, it's controversial. A lot of people are saying it was a good stop. I think that was an early stop, too.
Yeah.
I mean, he was kind of turtled up. He was defending himself. I mean, he looked like he was getting ready to get up.
Right.
So, I mean, it's been a couple bad stops lately.
Yeah,
man.
and that's what I'm saying, man. I think just people. People need to with these refs need to let these fights go a little bit longer, or just kind of they're there for a reason. They're championship worth. Quality fighters. They're top notch fighters. I could understand stoppage like that in an amateur level, but
right. Well,
UFC.
Even at a pro fight level, it's fighter first.
Right.
You protect the fighter. But in a title fight, you let that shit go, man.
Right.
I mean, these guys have worked their entire life to get to this point.
Right.
Especially in the UFC. So, I don't want, I understand if you're back of the pack and you're fighting and you know what I mean? And you stop the fight because these guys are trying to climb their way up and they got to fight another day and stuff like that. But, man, if you're in the title fight, man, you put it out there.
Right.
That's what you've worked for.
Well, I agree with that. I agree with that, but I mean, at the same time, even at the pro level, if I'm getting paid for this fight and I get an early stoppage, and I knew I was gonna get, I was gonna get that big money, that big payday if I did win the fight, and it was an early stoppage, even if it wasn't championship, even if it was just for more money,
Right.
it gets serious. So
Yeah, but then you got to take into account too. You got to fight another day,
true.
so you don't want to get, you don't want to get too hurt.
I guess it all comes down to what kind of fighter you are. Some people care, some people don't. We got those.
Right, but I mean, you've got to agree that it's got to be important to protect the fighters.
Well, we got to think about who's doing the decision, and that's the ref, and that's what kind of reasoning they're going to come up with. So we shouldn't be surprised by it. I agree. Moving on to these other fights. Other than that, on the other card, was there anybody exciting that you would like, or that you thought you saw that has like a good run? Like, I mean, maybe they have a good chance of making it. Any newcomers?
On which card? On the Fox card, or just
on the
or
Fox
just
card? Anybody new?
I think
coming out?
there was only one other fight on there. I think I can't remember who it was.
No.
But there's a lot of up and comers that I've seen lately that I've been impressed with. On I think the card before that, Max Holloway is dude's a beast. He's up and coming. There's a lot of guys, man. I think you're gonna see a lot of your older guys, your big names phasing out, and this is gonna be where you're gonna see a lot of up and comers.
Well, I mean, the
sport's evolving so rapidly.
Yeah, and that's what's always happened to UFC. It's never stayed the same. You tune into it one year, and if you phase out and you come back, and it's a whole new set of champions. Look at just last month, how many?
Oh man, I
How
mean,
many
just
new
in the last
champions?
6-7 months, there's
Right.
been most of them. I mean,
Yeah.
heavyweights new, 205s Daniel Cormier now instead of John Jones, 170s Robbie Lawler, 55s Rafael dos Anjos instead of Anthony Pettis, 45s McGregor, 35s TJ Dillashaw, which is he's had it for a little while now, and then Demetrius Johnson holding it down at 125 has had it the entire time they've had a 125-pound class.
Right. But I mean, for the most part, in these more competitive weight classes, it's a very ever evolving sport. So you never know what you're gonna get in any of these. Any given year, you're gonna get just a different lineup. So it's for somebody that follows MMA. It's definitely a tough sport to follow. You really have to be on it. I mean, from fight to fight, in order to stay on top.
Absolutely, especially if you're following UFC, because they have so many people on their roster. They swallowed up, different organizations and stuff, and then when they do that, then they don't necessarily cut people right off the jump. They let them have a fight first before they cut them.
Right.
And so you get like 600-700 people deep on a roster, and it's hard to get to know anybody except for your big names that they let fight twice a year.
Right. So then, I don't know, UFC related. I mean, these fights overall were a great set of fights.
Especially for a free card.
Yeah, especially for a Fox card. I know the local fans. I mean, that people that normally don't pay to see that money. I mean, they appreciate it. I mean, as well as all of us. So I'm not sure what that deal is that they got worked out with Fox, but I mean, I'm glad they have it. Moving on to trending issues. Do you have yours pulled up?
No, I
By
don't.
any chance? There's a lot of things going on that I think deserve some light on them. See if I can get.
You guys have any female fighters on the card? I didn't get a chance to watch the UFC this last weekend, but were there any female fighters on the card? Because ever since the downfall of the last, the champions of the female fighters, I mean, it's just incredible. But were there any female fighters on the card? You guys recall?
Not that I can recall, Kyle.
There was 2 female fighters on the card. Off the top of my head, I can't remember who they were.
Okay. was just curious. My 16-year-old, she wants to get into fighting in the worst way, and I've been around the MMA scene for about 10 years now. I've seen a lot of stuff, so I can relate to a lot of the stuff you guys are you're talking about. And when she brought it up to me about getting into MMA, I was so very against it. But with the sanctioning coming on and everything else, it might be one of them things where I'd be okay with it, I guess. So it's going to be kind of interesting. So,
and I think that's the intention behind the sanctioning. I think it was it's meant to put more regulation in the sport and to make it safer and
sure.
I mean, more parents and more people. Look, we're all savages here. We're all considered savages in the eyes of a normal athlete. So whenever we have any way to regulate and kind of put guidelines in our savagery, I think it makes it more appeasing to the wider audience. So I'm glad that Michigan is finally getting sanctioned, and I'm hoping that there's a lot of quality that comes out through the sanctioning and the shows and in the fighters.
I agree 100%. And the thing is, I don't think you're going to see. Well, we both know. I mean, we all know that it's not going to be. You're going to have such strict regulations or sanctions to put on a show, and not everybody can do this. So I would say you're probably going to have. I'm guessing 80% of these promoters disappear. You're going to have the good shows. I don't want to say the good shows. You're going to have the shows that these promoters they're going to have to dot the I's and they're going to have to cross the T's. If not, they're going to get fined pretty hefty. So with that being said, you're not going to have, because you're around Michigan, I mean, you can have on any given Saturday, you're going to have 12 MMA shows, if not more. And now you're going to have, realistically, you're probably going to have, and I have a feeling some of these promoters are going to talk to each other, and kind of say, hey, we're going to have a show this day, because it's not going to be like it is now. I think it's February 10th or something. It's going to be pretty close to that. You're going to have this sanction take effect, and it's going to be something. And you're not going to have, like I said, 20-some or 12 MMA shows a weekend. You're going to have one, maybe two, and as the fan, you're going to be able to pick, and these promoters are going to have one hell of a card because they're not going to have one every weekend, or every 3 weeks or whatever it is the case now,
And I think, I mean, I fully support that,
I agree.
In the infancy, I remember, I mean, Johnny, I could take it back to when, before Indiana was sanctioned, we used to fight out of a bar here, just an unsanctioned bar, just like it was in Michigan. In 2011, the state got sanctioned, and we fell under all of these rules. To be honest with you, I didn't disagree with them. There's so many things out there like MRSA and everything else that this would help prevent. So I was in agreement to this new rules that we had coming up. But at the same time, for the state of Michigan, back in that time, I remember and they know, everybody knows that Michigan received a lot of negative feedback, and they were kind of like just the laughing stock, man, just because of the non-sanction, and people thought they were in the Stone Age over there. But I've always supported Michigan. I've always went against the norm. I remember being criticized for taking my team to Michigan to these shows that weren't sanctioned, which was a problem then, because you have my guys that are sanctioned, they paid for their blood work and everything else. They fight in these promotions that are sanctioned, and I'm taking them to promotions that are not, and that could cause a problem, and it did cause a problem. And the reason that I kind of oversaw that, and I still supported Michigan because I believe that in the near future, it too was going to be on the same level as in Indiana if we kept pushing the MMA, just kept working the sport, so to say. So I'm glad it's at this point now that a lot of most state representatives or whatnot are finally caught their attention and gained interest in the sport of MMA to where they would want to sanction it. And I'm just glad it's where it's at. Like you said, there's a lot of promotions that cut a lot of corners, cut many corners, and that's dangerous, because you got to think about why they're doing it. Now you got a promotion that, for one, yes, money's supposed to be made. It's a business, but
Yeah.
when it's money to be made, but at the same time it's the athletes need to gain from this. So that's where it gets picky, because you have promotions that will just gain monetarily, but they won't reap any benefits to any of the fighters. They can't benefit from anything, and when that's kind of like in a balance, then things flow. But when it gets unbalanced, then that's when we have the need for sanctioning, because of these promotions cutting so many corners. And I'm just gonna plain and say it, this is the R-rated radio. They're janky fucking promotions, just plain and simple. So I'm glad that we're at this level now. Kyle, did you have something to add to as far as promotions go?
Yeah, overall, it's a great thing. I'm sick of going to shows where there's no water for the fighters.
Exactly.
They're holding shows in a horse barn, and you got to hop over cow piles to get to the cage. Like, I've seen a lot of janky shit, man, and that's all gonna stop, and that's great.
What? I never had a problem with the venue. I never had a problem with where it's at. I had a problem with how it's ran. Now,
Yeah.
if you have the professionalism to carry out a show, I mean, you can carry out a show anywhere you want to carry out a show. In the summertime, it's very. I mean, it's got to be in the Michigan area, bro. Like the outdoor events, awesome. I love them. They're awesome. But when people just kind of just overdo it and for their benefit and they don't really keep the professionalism when it comes to all the steps, all the facets of the show. I mean, excuse me, that's just
unfortunately for every good one there is, though, there's two that are terrible.
Right. But
and that'll all stop with the sanctioning, which is great.
It's we can't just put all our hopes on this sanctioning. Let's not think that this sanction is the answer to all of our prayers, because there is still a lot of ethics that we have to remember to inculcate in every show that we go to. I try to pass the most good ethics. Like when I go and I go to shows, I may not even have any fighters, but I still try to wrap people up and corner them if possible, or clean up after. All that is good ethics, man. I try to pass that on to others to kind of pay it forward, as an example.
Well, that's just. I mean, we are all our brother's keeper. We have to police our own, and if we don't see something right, then it's up to us as a fan, as a representative of MMA or boxing, whatever it is. We have to step in and say, hey, this isn't right. Sometimes you get frowned upon for that, but for the most part, you're protecting each other. We're our brother's keeper, so I know exactly where you're coming from.
Exactly. Yeah, I appreciate that. That's good talk, and it's good that we kind of get that out there. I wish there was people that list more people that heard that those words, because I think that would kind of not inspire, but kind of encourage people to kind of voice their opinions in a better way, and that's the reason why I came up with this R-rated radio. I think a lot of us have lost our way to it, kind of like express ourselves. We have these forums on Facebook, and don't get me wrong, they're very entertaining at times. But I think that a lot of people don't communicate or express themselves like they would. put it to you this way. I think if people vocally communicate, I think they could express themselves a lot better than in the text. So I think in this radio show, by having people come in and speak and voice their opinions, I think it's just a better way of expressing yourself when you do it vocally versus just this forum. I think it just kind of creates a lot of negativity and not that it's bad, because I mean, trust me, my humor is I'm a humorous guy. I love jokes. I mean, it's not the thing. When I see a lot of people with high humor in these forums, that's not the thing. But I think a lot of the real message doesn't really get expressed. Like I said, I think vocally is the best way to communicate, and that's why, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I have this R-rated radio now, and I'm hoping more people take advantage of that and kind of voice their opinions, use these waves, audio waves.
And I think it's a great format, like you're saying, to express ourselves, where you don't have to. Sometimes you got to be political. As an announcer, I've got to be very political on what I say, and so obviously I do that, whether it be inside the boxing ring or the cage. But I always said one of the worst things they could have ever done is allow me to have a mic in my hand. Now I say things that matter. For me, it's no secret. I love promoting the veterans. I mean, that's my biggest thing is the veterans, because no matter we have the female fighters, the sanctioning, the good promoters, the bad promoters, the Indiana, whatever, Michigan, Ohio, whatever, we could not have any of this if the young men and women that put their life on the line every day are veterans that have done that. I'm a former U.S. Marine, and I hold that very, very, very close to my heart. That's why, I mean, here's the goofy guy that I am. I go out and spend $500,000 on a Chewbacca full suit, and when I told a couple people about this, they thought I was off the wall. Like, what are you going to spend $500 on a Chewbacca suit? And I thought, yeah, but it's going to be a nice Chewbacca suit. But what I do is I actually throw a T-shirt on that brings people to my website, because I go to the biggest games. I went to the University of Michigan versus the Michigan State game. And I had probably 250, 300 people that wanted to get a picture with Chewbacca. Well, if they look at the picture close, you can see Johnny O, my website. And so basically, I want them to get to the site, not promoting Johnny O as the announcer, but they're going to see what Johnny O is all about. It's about making sure people don't forget, or making sure people don't forget about these veterans. And I went to the Detroit Lions Thanksgiving Day game, and it was a great game. Had excellent seats, and once again, we had probably about 300 people that want to get a picture with Chewbacca. But when it's all said and done, it's all about making sure people don't forget about these veterans, and that's what I love about R-rated radio. I can say this. A lot of times you got to be political and stuff on whatever the topic, whether it be veterans or sanctioning or female fighters or this and that. But you know what? Hey, it's an open floor, baby, so we appreciate that as a fan, okay?
Yes, sir. And, I mean, I'm glad to give it to you. At this time, Johnny, we're going to move on to the trending issue. So if you want to give us a call back, what time we have right now?
8:30.
8:30. How about 8:50?
Sounds good, my friend. You guys take care, and thanks again.
All right. Thanks you,
Johnny.
Johnny O.
Yep.
So we're going to move on here to our trending issues finally here on Facebook. There's just a lot of things going on that deserve mentioning, like I said. Kyle, have you had any chance to go over anything going on or any issues that strike you as important?
I haven't really looked too much, but I just seen one that caught my eye just a second ago.
What's that?
Miley Cyrus posing topless on the front and back cover of Plastic magazine.
Yeah. I posted that earlier, and I think that's very important. That's very important to talk about. And
I would like to know what the hell Plastic magazine is, first and foremost.
well, first of all, who are they?
Yeah,
who are they?
I've never heard of it.
Is it
I
a
don't.
music
I have no clue.
I
We can
guarantee
click
you
to
a lot of
find
people
out.
are going to find out now. But I have mixed feelings. I have mixed feelings about this. I have a 13-year-old daughter. She grew up with everything Miley Cyrus. I mean, not Miley Cyrus, but Hannah Montana. You know, I remember buying anything from a backpack to a folder to anything Hannah Montana. So seeing her going through her cocoon, butterfly, whatever you want to call it, seeing her going through a transformation as an artist, it really had an impact on my family, on my daughter, which had an impact on me. So, you know, when I seen her, you know, first on the videos, you know what I'm talking about, when she first, you know, started getting out there, you
Right.
know, I was hurt, man. I was hurt as a father, as just as an American, to have this girl coming from the Disney Channel transform into this artist.
I would agree with you, but you can't be mad at her as an artist. She's selling her brand,
Exactly.
and she's doing her thing.
Exactly.
Now, hopefully, people had enough sense as parents, like you did, to pay attention and notice what was going on. Because if you go from buying, you know, the Hannah Montana stuff to taking your kid to one of her concerts, now that's kind of
Oh yeah, well I would never do that now.
right. But I mean,
would
there's
put the
people
stop.
there's people out there that go to her shows, I'm sure, that are still expecting Hannah Montana, and that's not
No, I
what
don't-
shows up.
Yeah, I think that image is long gone. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that I agree with you, and this is something that took a while for me to kind of, kind of come up with. What was I gonna? Because see, I agree. Now, as artists, you have to let the artist be themselves. You know, you can't put a cage on an artist, and that's kind of how I feel myself. You know, as my following has got bigger, and throughout the years or whatnot, I have felt like a certain cage, like I have to act a certain way. For example, I was just having a beer with a friend of mine, Jeremy Brown, the other day, and he said, "Man, you know, you do a lot of things with the kids and the community, but then you post pictures of you drinking, man. That's just, it doesn't go." And I'm just kind of like, well, you know what, Jeremy? It wouldn't be real if I didn't, you know, post. I mean, I am who I am as a person, and I have to, you know, I would like to express that. Now,
Absolutely.
the
No,
role that
I
I
mean,
carry,
See,
It-
I'm calling bullshit on that, because you're not drinking around kids. You're not telling
Right.
kids to drink. What you do in your personal life is completely different, and you promote a positive thing for kids.
right? I mean, I agree with you. I mean, on my defense, you know, but at the same time, you know, I'm talking about, let's talk about Facebook. You know, I know that a lot of people see this. They do see. I mean, a lot of underage kids are on Facebook, and we know that. You know, so they may see this whether I want them to or not. So even in that scenario, you know, like I said, it's just it's the thin line where, you know, where it's difficult. It's very difficult for an artist to be themselves and at the same time follow the role that everybody has for them. You know, so Miley Cyrus, I remember. I mean, just to cap this, it's just kind of like, I kind of want to say I understand where she's coming from, you know, but at the same time, you know, when people say negative stuff about how many people she let down, I understand that. I understand where they're coming from, because at the same time, I felt like I've let a lot of people down myself. And I think I had the choice. You know, I had the choice of either being myself or still falling under this, you know, this image that people have for me. You see what I'm saying? And I mean, I'm just, it's an issue. I mean, it's just an issue that really, it's really, I mean, not affects me, but I guess
Right.
it concerns me.
I would agree with that, but also we're in the age of butthurt. Where
Yeah,
everybody
everybody's sensitive.
everybody is so upset and so sensitive over every little thing.
True.
And
So-
you know what I mean? Like that, if I were Miley Cyrus, that falls on whoever's butthurt, not me.
Right.
That's their problem. That's not, you know what I mean? Her as an artist, I mean, she puts music out, people respond to it, they like it. You know what I mean? They go to her shows. You're never gonna have everybody. Not everybody's always gonna love you.
Not
or what you're
everybody's gonna
doing.
be happy. Exactly. You're gonna have the people that love you, and you have the people that hate you. But they're both gonna buy tickets, and that's the important thing, you know, to artists. So, I mean, as long as you're making money, I mean, you're doing what's right.
And then as an artist too, if you couldn't do what you wanted and express how you wanted, your songs or your
Right.
ideas to be,
Then
would
you
they be
wouldn't
worth
an
doing?
artist.
Would they be worth even
Exactly.
trying?
Just like I was telling Joey on the way up here, the different artists, when you're doing it because you want to do it, you kind of you kind of just let your art flow. If you're a singer, if you're a painter, if you're a mixed martial artist, like I was telling them, like if I'm a certain fighter and I fight a certain way and I start going to this new gym and now they want me to fight a different way, then that's not letting me express myself as an artist. You see what I'm saying? Just like a painter, if he gets hired for a certain company and he used to paint murals, but now he has to paint logos or something, it's a different art. So he's doing something different that he's not. You see what I'm saying? So you're kind of constricting the artist.
Right.
I mean, yeah. I mean, when it comes to music, as you grow up, you have to appear to a different audience. So how do you do that? How do you do that to the best of your ability without losing fans? It's very difficult. So I mean, it's a very important issue. It's to talk about for me as a father. But I mean, I'm just definitely have a lot of input on that, a lot of say so. But yeah, that's a good issue. I mean, moving on, we have trending Miss Germany, Miss Universe pageant contestant says no one voted for winner from Philippines. Well, that's some controversial on the. I haven't really kept up with too much about that.
What was it? The Miss America?
Yeah, I guess there's some controversy about the voting.
Wasn't Steve Harvey the host of that? Like, didn't he kind of take the blame for that?
He fucked that up.
I didn't see it. Like, I mean,
I didn't see it either, but I saw it on Facebook.
Like, I seen him on Facebook and where he kind of seen like he was gonna take the blame for it. I
guess he announced the wrong winner, is what it was. He announced
that's
Miss
gotta
Colombia,
suck, dude. Like, how do you
and
feel?
It was really Miss Philippines. So
how do you feel if you're Miss Colombia and you're like, oh my God, dude, you went through the biggest high of your life and the biggest low all in 10 seconds? That's rough. That's his fuck up, and he should own up to it. And I feel bad for her.
He owned up. He apologized publicly, and everything's just.
I feel bad for her, but I mean.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, what do you do? It was live TV. It was a mistake.
Mistakes
There's no
happen.
going back. I mean, they should have just did the shit on the R-rated radio, and there would be no fucking problem with it.
Right.
But I mean,
I can't tell you how many times people have fucked up my name.
I know.
Thanks, Johnny Ortiz, for for doing well and not screwing it up. Thank you, brother.
I mean, he got it right though.
He got
right?
it right.
Sure
He did excellent. He's an amazing announcer.
All right, here we go. Trending Palmview, Texas. Police name person of interest in double homicide. I mean, that's just an ongoing thing over there in Texas. That's where I'm from, and that's like the new murder capital. There's just so much going on down there.
Yeah, there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on. I got another one that kind of is closer to home, man. Did you hear about that in Danville, right by Indy, where they were shutting down schools and stuff like that?
Danville, Illinois?
No, Indiana. It's right there by Indianapolis. So I'm in this podcast group online, the Joe Rogan podcast group.
Okay.
And so this guy,
shout out to Joe Rogan.
This random guy post on there about what's going on. And there's a guy that's they've closed down the schools because of this guy's threatened to kill these people at school and shoot up the school and stuff like that on Facebook. And he posted a link, and I was kind of following it, man. And there's like they can't find this dude. Like he's all over Facebook saying like he's gonna shoot up the mall, the schools, all kinds of shit, man. And they can't do anything about it.
And he's out of Indiana.
Yeah. About what is it? I think like 10 minutes.
Should we be having a fucking alert right now for this guy?
I mean, they should definitely find this guy.
Is there a picture of this guy?
No, he's just like trolling on Facebook, man, and nobody can figure out who it is. That's the problem. Is it's been like 6 or 7 days now, and school's getting ready to go. They're going to go back to school, and if they don't know who this is, what if it's serious?
This is crazy.
What if
You heard
shows
about that the Vegas the guy that just rode into the traffic, hit a bunch of people.
I did hear. Wasn't it a lady?
I mean, was it a lady?
I think so.
It must have been a lady. They're the worst drivers, but I mean, it's not it's easy to believe, but it just says here, police identify suspect who allegedly drove car into crowd on purpose.
That's ridiculous.
Killing a woman. That is just crazy. Big boy. Trending. Rapper files brief to Supreme Court in defense of suspended student, report says. Not too much of a follower of Big Boy, but let's see what's going on with him. On second thought, yeah, I'm not too much of a follower of Bill. Let's keep moving.
All right, no, that's kind of good though, man.
Well, what he said?
He was suspended.
Rapper files brief to Supreme Court in defense of suspended student.
It said the brief defending a student who was suspended after recording a song that mentioned sexual misconduct complaints against the faculty. I don't know how you write a song about that though.
Yeah, and how you get it played to where people are going to have a problem with it. I don't know. This is the butthurt era, like you said, so it shouldn't surprise us. So trending, yellow-bellied sea snake. So I guess there's venomous new kinds of sea snakes that haven't been seen in 30 years wash up in our shores now. I mean, what else is going to come? You never know what's going to wash up.
Right. Well, I mean, can you imagine all the stuff that's out there that we don't even know about?
Exactly.
In the sea. I mean,
we have 30 Rock. Sarah Palin stars in parody video of Tina Fey's former NBC sitcom. I haven't heard nothing about Sarah Palin in a while.
no, I think she kind of moved back up to a corner in Alaska and just kind of
Lay
Other
low.
thing,
She's
yeah.
on a low. So Miss Puerto Rico, another pageant. There's a lot of things about a pageant. I mean, this was a big thing. I mean, it's a worldwide award show. So definitely turned a lot of heads. Miss Puerto Rico, however, she was suspended. It says group suspends winner Destiny Velez from her role after her anti-Muslim tweets. I saw the tweets. They were not worded in a way that I would have spoke out in. I think so I posted this on Facebook, and some of my followers commented on it. I kind of agree with them. There's freedom of speech, but there's also a way to speak, you know. And I think the way she went about it just wasn't the best way.
right.
But at the same time,
What do you recall exactly what she said? I didn't.
she said
I didn't hear anything about this one.
it was something she typed. It was yeah, I'm not gonna be able to quote, but I think it was just saying that you know, Muslims were detrimental to the U.S. or in some way.
Well, I mean,
It's
a
just
lot of people are on that right now, trying to keep people out of certain states and refugees and all kinds of stuff, man. Like,
you know, I mean, that's it's just kind of interesting. I mean, not interesting. It's kind of scary how there's a lot of support that we're given to these Muslim countries at this time. You know, this is a time that if anything, we should increase our security on that specific group, at least. I think. I mean, and that's one of the things that I would side on Trump, if anything, that we should not put a hold or anything, or not just treat them. I'm not saying none of that, but I'm just saying we should definitely put more a closer eye on this, like what's going on.
let me ask you this: how do you go about doing that?
Well, I mean, how do you go about doing that when they're already here?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You don't have anybody. You know, like, when was the last time you went from Michigan to Indiana or Illinois to Indiana, and you had somebody stop and check and see what ethnicity you were? You know what I mean? There's all
Right.
these states that are keeping these people out, supposedly. I've never seen anybody stopping anybody driving in to see who or what they're, you know what I mean, what they are.
Right. Yeah,
So
I mean,
I just think it's people just kind of mouthing off, man. I think it's a little bit of bullshit because they're not really stopping anything.
right. I mean, that's just they're claiming, they're claiming they're gonna. I mean, that goes. I mean, that's enough for people to get fired up sometimes, brother. But as far as like, you know, just Yeah, like stopping, right? I mean, how are you gonna stop them? They're already here, man. They own. I mean, almost every gas station is Muslim owned, and I'm not saying anything bad or anything, but if you want to start, well, I mean, why start now? It should have been. I mean, that's something that should have been screened a long time ago. You know, it's kind of we kind of late in the game for that now. I mean, what do you what's your take on all that?
You what?
What's
Sorry.
your take on that?
Take on. What did you say? On Muslim?
Yeah.
I didn't hear you, man. I'm
Muslims
sorry.
as a whole. It's just like the whole, you know, there's definitely, I mean, when you look at, I mean, this is R-rated radio, so we'll get into it. I mean, you look at America, you look at about how many people don't like America and its ways. The Muslims fall under that category. We are hated by that type of living. So
Now, I think you're right there, but I think a majority, like there's certain ones that hate us and certain ones that don't.
well, I mean, I'm glad you hit that because it'll make me kind of clarify myself. Now, yes, there's extremists in every type of walk of life. There's extremists in Christians. There's extremists in rebellions. There's extremists in everything. And I think those are the people that are kind of running stealing the show, so to say. They're making everybody think that everybody's like that. And I do understand that, and I do believe that there's many Muslims and many people from the Middle East that don't agree with what's going on with the extremists, you
Right.
know. But at the same time, if we do at this time allow everybody that's humble, all the humble ones to come through, and then they're here, and then when we have the extremists rush through because they're not gonna ask,
Right.
you know. I mean, how do we do? You know, how do we prevent? I mean, how do we prevent that from takeover? Or do you think America is just a melting pot that's in for big changes next decade?
Unfortunately, I think it's the time that we live in, and we're going to have to go through a lot of changes. But we can't ostracize an entire race of people because that's exactly what the extremists want.
Exactly.
The extremists would like for you, as Americans as a whole, to shun this entire group of people because that's how they recruit people. That's how they get people on their side. That's how they, you know, they preach their ways, I guess, so to say.
Yeah.
But they want everybody to be against them
Right.
as a whole. So we need, you know, if there's going to be any sort of change and stuff like that, we're going to need Muslim people
Right.
to
and-
you know what I mean, to say this is not right, this is not what we stand for, this is, you know, this is who we are as people, and we're not all extremists, we're not all like that.
Right. Yeah, and it just kind of, I think it's just a very hard issue to deal with because, I mean, there is that, and then at the same time, you do want to keep American ways concentrated.
Right, you want to
know,
keep America.
You know, I'm a Mexican. You know, I'm a Mexican, and I believe in the American dream still. You know, I will still fight for it. You know, I believe in it. I think, I mean, there's a lot of things that I disagree with. You know, many things I disagree with. Even with the whole capitalism as a whole, just the whole type of government. There's a lot of things that I disagree with, but for the most part, I think this is a great land, and I would just like to be the most contributing member I could possibly, a best contributing member I could be, you know, for the most part. But when you have people that don't appreciate the ways that we have and want to change them, I mean, what do you do up to what? I mean, when do you draw the line?
Right.
When do you draw the line on that? It's very hard to tell. But yeah, I agree with you. That it's the extremists.
Well, that's, you know, as Americans, that's the thing that they've always, you know, that the American dream, it's the place to be, it's the best place to be. And I truly believe that this is the greatest place to be in the world.
Right.
We're extremely lucky to be here. Because you could be in some, you know, some random oil field out in the middle of, you know, Iraq. And we're not. But, you know, like I get it. Like I want everybody to have a chance to have the same. I think we're all equal as people. You know what I mean? So everybody should have the same same opportunity to do the same things that I'm doing.
Right.
And but now when you have people trying to upset the apple cart, so to speak, you're gonna have to draw the line, man, because then that's causing problems for the way everybody else lives.
Right. And I mean, and I agree. I like to throw different types of, thoughts out there to kind of, just kind of share different thoughts. Maybe it might spark up different ideas in people, and maybe change the way people think. The purpose of this show is to kind of get people thinking, get people to think in a different way. Start brainstorming. Don't think the way you've always thought. Kind of be open to new ideas. So, but I agree with you, man. Like, I think that America, if we do go and take that route and become what everybody expects us to become, which is shut certain people out, I think that at that point, America will no longer be America. And I think at that point, if it does go to that point, the end of the day should be near, brother. Because I just don't see any other way, man. Like, and I'm not even, that much religious, but I just don't see any good coming from the radical views of the certain high nominees right now that are going for the president. So,
right.
It's just a tough era that we're living, man. I think the next year is going to be a definitely a very, very interesting year. Election time next year, I think it's put it to you this way: at this time next year, it's going to be a very different America. It's going to be a very different because of our president, our new president we will have, or because of president the lack thereof.
Right. Well, I would agree with you just in the sense that we're going to have a new leader. And not only that, though, but current events and things that are going on, like all these different threats and stuff, we're going to have to tighten stuff up, man. We're going to, big venues and stuff like that where there's a lot of people, we're going to have to tighten it up and make sure stuff's not getting in.
Right. Well,
you can't live in fear forever, you know what I mean? Like,
never live in fear. Never. We're never going to live in fear. That's one thing we're never going to do. So, it is what it is. But everybody that joined us today, thanks for following us. Thanks for just kind of supporting this movement that we have going. If you'd like to share, we would appreciate it if you would share. And, the only way we're going to get bigger is through word of mouth. So we appreciate your support, and I hope you have it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate everybody who tunes in or watches this video later on. Please like our video, subscribe it, share, whatever you can do to put the word out. When we drop live links on Facebook, share them. The more people, the better.
Yeah. Do we have, Joey B, do you have anything to say, or you want to give a shout out to anybody out there right now?
Shout out TNO, shout out Bueno family.
Yeah, let them have it. All right, here we go. A call from Johnny Ortiz. Johnny O.
My friends, hope I didn't miss the closeout.
Nah, you're right. Just on time for it.
You know what? You guys, I was watching you guys on YouTube, and what an incredible show. And I got to say this. Tonight's show is brought to you by Kyle Shirt. Let's get weird. You got to love it, folks.
Thank you, Johnny.
Hey, no problem. Tell them what they won, Kyle, on a sunny trip to Acapulco. Well, there it is, folks. One more show complete, R-rated radio, politics, MMA, whatever you desire to talk about, your opinions matter. Join us next week, same time, same place. On behalf of Eli the People K2 and Kyle, the Keen Forester, this is Johnny O saying it's been a great show. It's been our pleasure. Here we go. There it is.